Guruji, are you teaching today?
I'm wondering, Ravi, that's
I don't know.
I think is it your session or mine? I think it's mine, but if you're here, why don't you teach? And I'll sit along with you.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. I'm going to turn off my video.
Okay.
Guruji, you need to give a host to the Chetan.
I will do that right now.
Okay.
Happy Ganesh Chaturthi, Guruji.
Happy Ganesh Chaturthi to you too.
હાલો પંચામૃત લઈ લો
Okay.
બધો હાથ ગંદા થશે મોડું કર
No. Okay.
Just 1 second, I need to change the post.
Okay. Let's begin with a prayer.
Chetan ji, you are now the host.
Okay. We'll begin with a prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vitvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So I guess good evening, everyone. Why don't we just take a moment to center? Go ahead, just sit comfortably, whatever method, nice, whatever posture is good for you. Take a moment to center on the breath. And just allow yourself to become present. Bring yourself back to the physical body. And let go of basically all the concerns. Just focus on the breath. If any thoughts or concerns or ideas or whatever are coming up, just allow them to come and go. Don't oppose anything. Just sit, observe, allow. Just allow everything to be as it is. Let go of control. Notice everything that's going on. Notice the sounds in the room, sound of my voice. Notice the various sensations inside the body. Notice the sensations of just sitting. Notice the weight of the body on the chair. Just notice it all. Notice all of it, pleasant and unpleasant, without judgment, without the need to hold on to anything or push anything away. Just observe, allow, just observe and allow, and see what happens when you're not trying to control experience. Just keep a simple attitude of listening. Just listen, open up, allow, observe, allow. There may be resistance, some part of you that doesn't want to experience something in particular. Allow that part to be as well. Just allow. Allow resistance to be. Allow tension to be. Just observe it gently, without trying to push anything away. And just notice. Just notice. Just observe and allow. There's discomfort. Allow that as well. And allow your attention to wander. Allow consciousness to choose. Let go of trying to control experience. There's nothing to achieve. Allow experience to guide. Just allow everything to be the way it is. Allow every experience the space to exist. Just notice. Just listen deeply. Listen to what experience is telling you. Let experience guide. If your mind wanders, it's okay. Once you notice it's wandered, just observe it again. Just observe and allow. Allow everything to be as it is. Let go of control. Just notice the vast space of silence that was always there. Notice how nothing is required to achieve the peace that you are seeking. The peace, truth, whatever is it that you are seeking deep down was always there. They are at this moment and every other moment, ever present. And notice Just notice. Slowly, very slowly, open your eye, relax. So, I guess what I want to emphasize is it's interesting. I was taking yoga classes with Vyasa. So Vyasa, in their method of yoga, emphasizes what's known as the Vishishta school of yoga. And in that, nothing is forced. So there are, like in the Hatha school of yoga, certain, like especially in prana, certain times force or forceful exhalation or holding, bandha, is done. In the Vishishta school of pranayama, no forceful exhalation and no forceful holding, no forceful bandha is done. It's simply an automatic cessation. Both schools actually have their merits. There's nothing wrong with either school, but the one thing about the Vishishta school is it's generally considered the safer school. Don't force things. Allow for natural intelligence. The same way in meditation, I think, for the most... So many different techniques are there, and each technique has its merits. But simply having the attitude of allowing everything to be as it is, if that's sort of the grounding, where you're not trying to force experience, it's safer, and also it's actually more real. It'll keep you out of interesting but often painful altered states of consciousness. And those of you maybe who have been meditators for a while and sometimes have forced things a little bit too far know what I'm talking about. So simply having that wonderful attitude of allowing just sort of makes everything apparent. Now it's essentially beginning yoga with sharanagati, that attitude of surrender. So I've let go of control. Now that I've let go of control, is that which is already true, right? This is the question to ask. Is that which is already true, ever present, actually there? I mean, this is the wonderful thing about yogic traditions and Hindu tradition, is that it's not about belief. Belief can be useful, it can be motivating, and there's a place for belief. But ultimately, it's about lived experience. So that which is true for Vivekananda, true for Ramakrishna Paramahansa, true for all the sages that came before us, is just as true for you and I. So that truth that's there is always there. never can you actually be separate from it. So that's why in Hindu Dharma, in Bauddha Dharma, both of them actually, they have very common roots in this, and also Jain Dharma. The root cause of suffering is avidya. Buddhists sometimes call it maya, illusion. Avidya, lack of knowledge. I suffer because I cannot see the truth, even though it's actually quite obvious, and it's so obvious sometimes, that's why it's missed. I keep looking past it. It's there, it's there. Oh, it's right around the corner. It's if I can only solve everything, if I can only purify myself through some extreme tapas, I'll get there. And this is how it's missed. This is, I would say, the sadhak's error. And many sadhaks have to go through this, by the way, and anyone who's been down the road of sadhana sometimes has to go through that period of running. Why? Sometimes we're not yet willing to listen to the obvious. Sometimes there's an aspect of us that still wants to struggle. And that's okay. Struggling is fine. Suffering is fine. There's nothing wrong with any of it. And that's the beautiful freedom of this human existence, is that we are free to suffer or not to suffer. That fundamental freedom is there moment to moment. I can choose to let go, essentially allow. Another teacher would say, let down and let be. Just let down. Time to let your hair down. No need to be at intention anymore. Perhaps I can let go of struggle for just a moment. Perhaps all my struggle hasn't been as useful as I thought in my life. There's one for you. I often believe it's because I'm struggling, because I'm worrying, because I'm manipulating situations, that somehow I'm progressing. Whether I'm trying to manipulate the internal world or the external world. So there's this egoic part of us that wants to be in control, that wants to experience God, that wants to experience truth as it sees it, according to its view. And the frustrating part is reality doesn't agree with its view. And in fact, wonderful stories in the Puranas about this. In fact, Dhruv, who did long tapasya to see Narayana, and in his tapasya, he visualized the form of Narayana. With visualization, by the way, is a wonderful technique, very powerful. It helps to let go of all the other illusions in life and focus completely on one-pointedness. This is known as dharana part. So Dhruv meditated on this form, Vishnu, four-armed form. And he does this for a long period of time, until at some point in time, that became the only thing in Dhruv's attention. Now, existence is so wonderful, and I consider so compassionate at this particular point in time. So what happened is, at some moment in time, Vishnu left that vision, and that disturbed Dhruva's meditation. And in that disturbance, he opened his eyes, and he saw very clearly Vishnu right in front of him. He saw the true Swarupa of Vishnu. Hari Swarupa. So similarly, again, many techniques. Most techniques may focus on concentration, that's fine. Others, like this particular one, which is actually no technique, simply allowing, and then you begin to see and experience things clearly. Letting go of your own expectations, sort of shedding that part of yourself. Seeing what happens. It's kind of an interesting experiment. What happens when, instead of searching for something specific, what happens if I just open up to seeking? What happens if I, you can almost say in a very scientific way, simply observe first before coming to any conclusions? Why do I need to conclude anything yet? Let me simply observe. Let me observe, allow, open up. Let's see what happens. Let's see where that takes me. Where does that take me? So it's sort of that openness to new experience, right? And that's essentially what meditation is. Meditation is about opening up to experience completely. Not trying to repeat the same experience over and over again. That's desire, attachment, right? If I felt peace in my last meditation, if I'm trying to repeat the same experience, I'm doing the same thing as I do in the outer world, right? I like ice cream, I'm going to eat ice cream. And every time I'm trying to repeat the experience of ice cream. And yet, what I find is after the second scoop, the ice cream is no longer satisfying. Because what I was searching for wasn't the ice cream. I was under the illusion that I could repeat the same experience over and over again. And this, by the way, in normal everyday life is perfectly fine. I'm not trying to be otherworldly, give it all up, nothing like that. What I'm simply pointing out is what is true, what is unique, what is real is on the one hand unchanging. There is an unchanging aspect of it. And on top of it, all experience is changing. So, letting the changing change, allows us to really connect with the unchanging. As long as I'm obsessed with that which is changing, I'm going to be caught in that drama. So letting go of the changing, allowing the changing to change. And it will change. Sensations will change, feelings will change. Sometimes you'll be expanded, sometimes you'll be constricted, sometimes meditation will be really, really opening, lovely. Sometimes it just will kind of suck. Yeah, a lot of uncomfortable material may start to come to the surface. And it's allowing both of those without judgment, without trying to push it away. There's nothing wrong when all that stuff comes up. It's just part of the experience. It's all experience. It's all the changing. Let the changing change. See what happens. But being grounded in the unchanging. And that, as you sort of let go of the drama, you start to notice, oh, there's sort of a certain amount of stability here. This drama can go up, this drama can go down. I'm not being carried away. That becomes the anchor. It's the anchor of the unchanging. Bringing yourself back. And at times, sometimes something physical helps. So when it's very overwhelming, bringing your attention back to the breath, bringing your attention back to body. Open space awareness. Open up completely to everything. Puts things in perspective. These are all ways by which you can allow and not necessarily get pulled away with it. It's not like the anchor goes away. And at times, if the anchor goes away, the best thing is to allow yourself to drown. If you feel like you're struggling, allow yourself to drown. And see what happens. So these are a few pointers. I did want to practice a technique of self-inquiry today. And that'll be for the last part of this session that we're coming up on now. So, initially when we practice the allowing, the opening up to experience, so you notice the silence, the stillness, that's underneath all the chaos that's going on. That's, in some ways, the first step, you could say. It's also the last step. But sometimes what can be useful, especially when all this is going on, is to see, can I explore a bit deeper into that silence? Can I see what's there? So in that, at times, a question or a yardstick can be quite useful. The question should be appealing to you, but it also needs to be grounded in some sort of truth. Sometimes you can actually sit and spontaneously perhaps a question will arise. So that's another technique. You can actually sort of observe, and is there that fundamental question that's driving me? To other people that question may be, who am I? What am I? What am I actually? Another one could be, what is true? And a good yardstick in meditation for knowing what is true, or what actually, with the question, again, as the question is there, a lot of times the mind is searching for an answer. Like, when people say, oh, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Nowadays everyone says, does this, right? Versus what a question like that, a Zen koan, is there for, is not to find an answer, especially not in thought, not in feeling, not in beliefs, but sort of drive you deeper than that. It's to drive the questioner deeper. So the answer we're looking for isn't a thought, though at times insight may come from thought, or it may manifest as thought. So there may be moments of insight, not negating those, but often those are followed by sort of a grok, right? An insight. Oh, I know, right? There may be thought following that, but usually it begins with, I know, right? Everyone's had that intuitive insight. So, thought, if you can observe thought, you are not thought. Right? And we have the capacity to observe thought. The same way, I can observe feeling, and therefore I am not feeling. There is feeling going on, there are sensations, not negating them. There's feeling, however, I'm not feeling. I'm not thinking. I'm something more primary. I'm not belief or assumption. So much of life is based on assumption. I'm not what I assume I am. Right? Because I can also observe those assumptions. So if it's anything that I can observe, then there's something more primary. So what I am is more primary. So in that silence, if that's really a question that appeals to you, sit with it in the silence. What am I? What is true? What's really real? What is not based on assumption? What do I really know? What do I really know? And so that's sort of the inquiry. So it's that kind of question to drive you deeper into the silence, to seek, and also to sort of let go of that which is unreal for a moment. It'll come back. Sort of get underneath that. See what's down there. There's that vast ocean of silence. Now it's time to explore it. So, with that, let's prepare. Sit comfortably, close your eyes. Have that attitude of simply allowing everything to be as it is. You can use the breath or a mantra or any technique to center. And just allow everything to be as it is. Let go of control. Allow yourself to sit in that vast space. Silence that's underneath all the drama, all the emotion, all the thinking, all the sensation. Underneath, there's just this vastness. Really begin to notice that vastness. Notice what's underneath all the chaos. What's grounded. If it helps, focus on the breath a while, or practice your mantra. And then just notice the silence underneath again. Just notice it. Notice that vast ocean of consciousness. It's always there. Now with that curiosity of a child, with an innocent attitude, really begin to explore in this silence. In the depths of this consciousness. So what am I? Or what's really true? What's really real? What exists without any assumption? Really begin to explore. The depths of this consciousness with that attitude. My thoughts and feelings don't define me. And what am I? Just explore. What am I? Allow whatever question it is, just sit in the silence. Allow it to sort of reverberate in the silence. And with that innocent, loving curiosity, just explore. Just explore with that loving curiosity, not settling for any thought, feeling, assumption, not settling for anything less than the truth. Don't settle for anything that's a thought, feeling, sensation, image. All of those are simply observed, temporary, changing. Really begin to observe or orient towards what am I? With that deep curiosity, letting go everything else. Okay. Slowly, very slowly, open your eyes, relax. We'll conclude with a prayer. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone. Good night.